Greetings people, it's Jared here, Wolfgang 1, back to do another Transformers review. So this week I was going to review Generation 1 Blaster because one of my YouTube subscribers very graciously lent me his gun so I could complete the review, and I've not touched Blaster in fucking donkey's years. And basically I've noticed in the years that I haven't touched him, his tape deck mechanism has failed. So rather than try and fix the bloody thing, I've just decided to review something else instead. So this week we're delving into a Decepticon for once, because it's been about 8 weeks since I did one of them, and we're going to be taking a look at something from the recent Legacy line. I'm going to be comparing it to its G1 counterpart because there's a couple of things that I've noticed that they really do lean heavily into the nostalgia on this one, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the review for Transformers Legacy Needlenose. Right, here is Needlenose in his box. It's the standard Legacy box. They've done away with like the plastic window sort of thing, which kind of results in slightly more figure damage or people nicking parts or things like that. It's I appreciate them being environmentally conscious, but it's not the best plan when you've got the figure on show like this. Apart from that, it's a standard box. I picked this up out of Forbidden Planet for $24.99. You know, long gone. I think I mentioned this in quite a few reviews, but long gone are the days of the $15.99 job for deluxe, unless it's like on clearance or something like that. Yeah. Now this figure here, Needlenose wasn't really on my radar, quite frankly. And then I checked out a couple of the test shot photos, and I thought, you know what, he could be all right for what he is. And for the most part, I would say Needlenose kind of plays it a bit safe. He's not the shittest thing in the world. He's not the worst figure in the world, but there's something about him that didn't exactly set my world on fire. I don't know, maybe I wasn't prepared for like the overly simplified toy that I ended up with. I say overly simplified because when I first tried transforming it to jet mode, I got massively confused because once again the instructions aren't. They're not. I mean, I'll show you. It's a figure in the box, and you know what happens. We then cut to a nice little transition. The figure's in alt mode, and the box is somewhere in the bin. So why don't we crack straight on into that section of the review, ladies and gentlemen, and then I'll also do comparisons between this and the actual original G1, which I haven't reviewed yet. Right, and here is Needlenose in his alt mode. He transforms into a plane. I don't know what sort of plane. It might be a Tomcat. It might be a fucking tornado. It might be a Whippet. I fucking haven't got a clue. But that's what he turns into. He turns into a plane. And the slightly underwhelming thing about him is the fact that if you turn it over, there's a lot of robot underneath. Now, the reason I say it's underwhelming is because I would draw, as I said, comparisons to the original G1, where it was pretty much exactly the same. A few things are in different places, but, well, I say a few things are different places. I mean, I'll show you. Let's have a look at some of the things that Needlenose came with. So he comes with one instruction booklet. Now, the instruction booklet, if I could just get that to focus, looks all very well and good with its like lovely little pictures and everything like that. The problem is sometimes when it's a black and white photo with like sort of greened out like sort of sections, it's slightly easier to follow than the ones that are just grey on grey. But I still had, first time reading this, I still went, the fuck are you on about? So he came with that. He came with one tail fin section, which basically just plugs into the back of the jet like that, and that gives him his full jet look. And he also comes with two Target Master companions who are at the moment in gun mode, Zigzag and Sunbeam. I don't know which one is which. Truth be told, I don't think it really fucking matters one way or the other. I would say the most disappointing thing about the whole thing in general was the fact that the Target Masters are essentially upscaled versions of the originals. And by that, I'll show you what I mean. So this one is either Zigzag or Sunbeam, and this is him next to his original counterpart. Let me see if I can get in a little bit closer there. A lot of the design details carry over. It's basically just a block person with a massive dong. hanging from between his legs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm jealous. Okay. And their transformation is exactly the same. Even like, I mean, in the molding, you can even see a little purple gun that they're wielding. The design cues are almost completely identical, which I guess is cool. I mean, the attention to detail is certainly there in terms of making things identical. But this one isn't the only one that suffers from that. This one is also guilty of the same. Slightly different color scheme on the crotch section and the hip skirts, and that. But essentially, they didn't put any thought into these whatsoever. And the transformation processes are exactly the same for each. You flip the barrels out and it will flip them under, and that's your guns. So I'm gonna. I'll come back to the Target Masters in a minute. Let's talk about Needlenose himself. Focus, you motherfucker. There we go. Right, so my one is fully transformed, and this is a problem that I had with it before when I first started fucking around with it. My one doesn't tab in very well on this section just here. You can see the section that leads into the nose cone in the cockpit is elevated. It does plug in, it does tab in underneath here, but it doesn't line up with the wing section. Now, I thought that you could just like sort of repurpose or rebalance the wings or something like that. You can't because of the hinge that they're on. So my one has this slightly awkward section just here, which is elevated, and you can see the separation joint just there, and you get the impression that that's supposed to be flush. If I can just get that in a little bit closer, this blue section just here, I shouldn't be able to see that at all. That wing should be sitting fucking flush up like that, okay? And it's not. And I've checked underneath here. I've tabbed it in about as far as it's going to go. That's just a defect with mine, I guess. In terms of comparisons, let's compare him to his original. Now, my original is a little bit worse for wear in terms of the colour, but, I don't care. In terms of the stickers that they've applied, in fact, they're not stickers on this, they're paint, but stickers on this one. Very, very similar arrangements. The sculpting is between the two of them. The sculpting is more unique to one to the other. But the sculpting in terms of the robot mode, there are so many things that I know fucking geeks can be really fucking particular. Okay, I know geeks can be really particular in the sense that so that they're doing a new version of this character, blah blah blah. I was appalled to find that he had 2 chest grills as opposed to 3. His original had 3. There are some people that will bitch and moan and be proper little gatekeeping shit cunts about it, right? However, in this instance, in Needlenose's instance, the amount of sculpted design detail, which is directly lifted from the original, is fucking insane. Okay? Needlenose had a yellow face and a weird fucking helmet thing, and he had like sort of grills either side of his chest. The amount of stuff that they've replicated, mental. Now, if you have a look for the back, you can see that the feet are in a different position. I don't like this gapping just here. I would have liked it if these sat sort of flush, but they do peg into this section just here, so yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't much like the feet just hanging out the back of it like that, quite frankly. Underside, as I said, we've already seen that. Yeah, these have already come out of the pegging. Let's see if I can get that back in. Oh, right, okay. So yeah, if you peg it in properly, which my one doesn't want to do. Now, I'm sorry, but this is points, right, that is being deducted from this. I'm not even getting this on fucking camera. This is points that's being deducted from this figure, because if I tab something in, right, the idea is it's supposed to fucking sit there until such time that I decide to untab it. I shouldn't tab something in and then have the toy decide for me, I'm going to untab like that, which is exactly what it's doing. So on that alone, this toy can fuck off, right? However, let's talk about the rest of it. Let's talk about the rest of it with a camera that focuses. There we go. They've kept the color scheme. I mean, they haven't done the stickers on the tail fins. They've just added extra details to the tail fins, like sort of extra wings. All in all, it's a very, very close reproduction of the original toy. Transformation is similar in certain aspects, especially in terms of how the legs position and sort of things like that. But we're going to take it to robot mode right now. In fact, you know, before I do, let's give fucking Needlenose his weapons, because one thing that this toy does is it has actually, yeah, they're both the same. They've both got fucking pegs, right? So we're going to peg one of these fuckers there. It would be nice if I got any of this on camera, because I'm watching this over the camera, right? I'm not paying attention to what's actually on camera, which is why I think so many of my reviews are lacking, because I don't fucking pay attention. As simple as that, really. Right, so that is Needlenose, right, in a sort of attack mode. And because the guns aren't symmetrical, it looks like wank, right? Now, there's not really a lot Needlenose in the Legacy line can do about that, because if you attach the same fucking guns in the same position, right, or in different positions, doesn't really fucking matter which, it has that same shit quality to it, okay? And also shit quality in terms of the video, it seems. It has that same shit unsymmetrical sort of thing. It looks like wank. It looks like wank. So we're going to get rid of these boys here. Zigzag and Sunbeam, or whatever the fuck they're called. And we're going to go ahead and transform this guy. Now, what we're going to start off doing is bringing the cockpit section up like this, and the back of the plane, and we're going to collapse the back of the plane down. We're going to fold this section up like this, okay? As I said, there's a lot of design cues that carry over from the original, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. We're then going to, untab this section, because that hasn't already fucking happened, right? And then we're going to bring the feet into place like that. We're going to bring the legs out like this, okay? Then we're going to stand the fucker up, right? We're going to bring the legs in like this, spin them round to the front. Okay, now, let's get the light out of the way. Now, for this section here, we are going to open up the chest section, which is this bit just here. Actually, do you know what? Let's bring that just out of the way like that. Open up this chest section, bring it down, bring the arms out to the sides. This section just here, we're gonna collapse. No, we're not. Yes, we are. We're gonna bring. Oh, fuck off. We're gonna bring the whole thing down and tab it in. That can stay. That is supposed to tab in there. Okay. The nose cone is supposed to tab into the back of the plane. That's not doing that either, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. There's a lot of things. There we go. Fuck you royally. We're going to lift up the head. Okay. We're going to bring the shoulder sections down. And then what you've got here, if I can grab my trusty pointing thing, you've got tab here, 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 and here. Okay. And those 4 tabs will basically connect into the chest section once you've lined everything up like that. Bring the arms, focus, you motherfucker. Bring the arms down, bring them round like this, and that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that right there, all bells and whistles, is your basic Needlenose. Okay, now, when I say basic Needlenose, I fucking mean it. He is basic in his transformation, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But to have such a direct reproduction, a modern reproduction of the original toy, I said this with Inferno, fucking like sort of 2 years ago or whatever. To have a figure that was so close to the original without doing anything new, just kind of feels like you haven't really learned anything in the last 30 fucking years or whatever. So if I was to take, I mean, this isn't G1 Needlenose's review, but you know what? I'm just going to fucking transform him and quickly just see what I mean. So let's take that back there. Let's collapse that down for fucking difference that makes. Fold these bits out here. bring up the legs. Where's my pointy thing? Let's bring the arms out. Bring this up for the head. Right, okay, and then fuck around with the hands, because they always get stuck, right? A lot of the pieces end up in the same places, right? But let's have a look at Needlenose and Needlenose, right? The colours, obviously, a lot brighter on the new version. They've actually accentuated the eyes, which is good, because this fucking yellow face thing, he's just got a gormless expression on his face, like, I really shouldn't be here. This is what I'm talking about. These two grill sections here, right? Recreated just here. These two little fucking bits just here, and this bit of sculpted detail, recreated from this. Even with the shoulder pads just here, they've actually got them facing the opposite way, but it's the same design just there. In terms of the legs, well, the legs have got a lot more paint on, whereas the original had stickers. But there is, yeah, I mean, let's even look at fucking, I mean, these two raised bits just here, sculpted in on the original. Well, there is so much. Let's take the fucking head sculpts, for example. The amount of detail that's carried over from the original into the new one, even fucking these tiny little fucking bits just here, piss off. Recreated just on the sides here, even like the grills on the side of his battle mask. Everything is very, very, very closely reproduced. But that does also lead to a few problems. It leads to a few problems. Right, so this one has no articulation. Let's fuck off the original for just a moment, because it's not his review, right? Let's concentrate on this. What you have when you so faithfully reproduce a figure is you're not taking chances and doing anything new. So as a direct result of that, he's still got a massive fucking nose cone hanging off the back of him. Now, this would work if the entire assembly came up further and sat about up here. So this section just here could fit very, very nicely into this groove here, and the whole thing, he wouldn't be walking around like he's got a massive fucking, well, let your imagination run wild with that, ladies and gentlemen. So as a result, and this is the problem I have with like sort of the figures getting more expensive and sort of things like that, is when you've got a character like Needlenose, you might want to think about just doing something to update it a bit. You still identify it classically as Needlenose, but you're doing something slightly different with the design. This is basically just an articulated, updated design of the original. There's not a lot that really separates this from the original, apart from the fact that you can move the fucking arms, legs, and head, and get it into some dynamic poses. His target masters have almost exactly the same design cues, almost down to like sort of like the tiniest little details, especially this fucker just here. As a result, because this isn't really treading any, like creating any new ground, this is just treading over old ground. As a result of that, I don't necessarily think it was worth the fucking £24.99 I spent on it in Forbidden Planet. Which is a shame. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, every new figure has got to be absolutely incredible. You're always going to have a few that didn't quite hit the marks that they were aiming for. But, and I'm not saying I hate this, because I don't hate this figure at all. I'm just a little bit underwhelmed with what the final result was. So here's a weird thing. If I had to say, and I will do G1 Needlenose's review at some point in the future, if I had to say who did it better, it might be controversial to say it, but I would say probably the G1. And the reason for that is because the G1 never had his mold in any way reproduced for another character. I think this one has been turned into, been repainted into the Triggercon Windsweeper. I think there are some elements. Right, so this one's got more articulation, sort of a lot of the sculpted details are a lot more accentuated and sort of things like that. But there's something about it which, if you haven't evolved the design in 30 years, then you would have to argue that the original design probably trumps the new version. I mean, props for the new version being bigger, deluxe size. Yeah, I'm not. That's all good. Fucking more of that, please. But there's not enough modern day interpretation into this design because they're taking too much from the original. Having said that, it's not a piece of shit. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this review. Was it a review? Or was it just me fucking harping on and on about things I don't fucking understand? I don't know. Thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Gerard Gavenberry, also known as Wolfgang1, saying I will be back in the near future. 7 Days to Die Series 5 starts on Friday, December the 6th. More shenanigans for me and Dave619, so make sure you check back for that. There's also more music on the channel that's going to be out on Saturday. Yeah, and I'm still working on fucking Star Trek, so just bear with me and that, because it is, for what I'm trying to do, it's most ambitious project I've ever undertaken editing wise. So you're just gonna have to fucking bear with me. I'm sure whatever I do will be absolutely hilarious, and actually worthy of 11,000 views, which, let's face it, episode 1 of Star Trek wasn't. So yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, that was my review. Thank you very much for watching this. I will be back next week. Until we see each other again, thank you for watching and take care. And when tomorrow comes, I feel you laying by me, like you ain't got nowhere else to go.